been making books for 25 years. 25 years ago I started Cacafuego Press with Tom Powell. We called it Cacafuego Press because we didn't want to be Criffle Press, Solway Press, Dumfries. And Tom had been, we both had an affinity for Spain, and Tom had been researching a ship which the sailors called Cacafuego. The polite version is Spitfire. And it was a treasure ship that was coming from Peru, laden with treasure, and Sir Francis Drake intercepted it in a golden hind and brought it. And we decided to call ourselves Cacafuego, and I did a little logo of a ship with a hole through the mast. And my son said it's too much like the Blue Peter badge. Yeah. So I had to hand paint for this. This was the first publication Tom and I did. And as a first publication, I really wanted to learn as much as possible. So this was 15 poems by Tom. And he brought the poems and asked me to illustrate them with liner cuts. I decided that I wanted to print it letterpress, so I had to go and get help. Matt Crane, I don't know if any of you know him, had Solway Print. Is a wonderful man. And we hand set all the type, and the liner was printed type high, and so it was printed on the Heidelberg press. So this was all hand printed on lovely handmade paper. And I got a bookbinder in Bradford, and I went down and spent time with him. So I was learning about setting type, I was learning about bookbinding, and about liner cutting. And we made this in two versions. We made a card-covered version and this quarter-pound leather version. And we were lucky because Tom was right in residence at the International Book Festival in Edinburgh at the time. So we got an exhibition of all the prints and books, and we launched the book. And they very quickly sold out. So a great start to Cacafuego Press. While we were doing this, Tom came round. This is our collaboration scope. Tom came round, and in my studio, because I love Western movies and the West, I've got cowboy boots, I've got a replica Colt 45 gun and the hat, and they all sit on my easel. So Tom went away and wrote a whole story called My Dad Was a Cowboy, which he wrote in an evening. And he came and he said, I see this as a sort of children's book, a 1950s flavour, children's book for adults. So an evening Tom spent on it, and I spent 18 months doing all the liner cuts so that I could have end papers and it could have original liner cuts. So it says, I was a cowboy, he had the boots, there's my hat, there's my gun. And then I did a little section about the 1950s, and Tom took fright and said, we'll get sued by Disney lawyers. So I made a secret compartment that's so far, in 25 years, preserved us from Disney lawyers. So My Dad Was a Cowboy, I wanted again to do a special version. And this sort of sets the tone for my books. I want to make one that can sell quite cheaply. In an edition of, I think, 300 we made of those. And I wanted to make one that was leather bound. I wanted a brand. It wasn't working. I had to get it all stamped in the end rather than a brand. But I got really nice paper, and I hand coloured them to look like 1950s. So the comics used to get in the 1950s with writing illustrations. So that was My Dad Was a Cowboy. Tom and I did a number of other things. Probably our most prestigious book was this, because Tom had, as he'd done this to me, I said, well, I've done some little prints, that little hand-coloured dry points, and I want you to write sonnets to go with them. So then I thought, I'd like to make it in a box. I make it, my brother's a woodworker, so I said to him, I want a box that looks like a solid piece of wood. You can't see any joins, and the book slips out. And this is my dummy that I made up. The real ones had lovely washed silk, Japanese washed silk on it. But it's called the Pomegranate Poems. And it's got these hand-coloured dry points, which are printed. And I sum it to go with them. Again, it's letterpress, set in letterpress. I thought I had invented a binding by doing this. And then I was at a book fair and somebody said, "Aye, Japanese, a stud binding, not a stamp binding." So it's always done before. So, but I love the way it snaps shut. And we set out to make 25 of these, and my brother got fed up after 15 of these boxes and said, "You want any more, make them yourself." So it ended up being an addition of 15. And it got into the Library of Congress in America, and it got into collections all over the place. So, Kirkcudbright, we did another couple of small books and pamphlets, and we actually made, I haven't even got one, for a launch in Edinburgh, we made beastie boxes, which I printed on by feeding long strips of paper through my printer. And it was, Tom had found the Scots names for insects. So ants are pishminis, and a spider is a mighty licky spinny. And I made little rubber stamps and stamped them out. And then I made little boxes, like matchboxes, because my little boys like us in the 50s used to keep insects in matchboxes. I made these little matchboxes and we sold them at a fiver. I saw one on eBay recently at £56. I hadn't even got one, I sold them all, they're all gone. So that was Kirkcudbright, and Kirkcudbright ran really until I formed Roncadora in 2005. So I'm coming up to 20 years of Roncadora and 25 years of and I've decided I'm stopping. I'm going back to painting. It's much easier, and I don't have to deal with players. So when I started Roncadora, again, the logo, Roncadora is Spanish for she who snores. And my wife does not snore. I've got to say that. It's written into the contract. I've got to say my wife does not snore. I'm a snorer in our house. But we stayed in this wonderful villa in Catalonia that was built by a Belgian architect in the middle of a pine wood, and he got permission to build it as long as no pine trees were damaged in the building. So the pine trees actually came up through the building, and you had gaskets and things on the roof. And in the dining room was a table with a pine tree, and the table around it. It was an incredible place. And it was called Roncadora because his wife snored. There was 2 bedrooms, one of which was soundproofed. And I loved the name Roncadora, so I designed my little logo, and the little lady is gently sleeping, and the little Z's in the curtain show that she's snoring. So, who's else on that car? There's also some postcards here. So I'll brought you close in so we can hand books out and you can have a look at them. And at the end, by all means, come up and handle the books, because they're made to be handled. I like them to be tactile. So when I started Roncadora, my first book, Hugh Bryden and I have been long-time collaborators. Hugh and I taught together at an academy. In the bad days when the academy was a designated school, you got paid extra to teach there because it was a bit rough. And I remember one day a child arrived at my door and said, "A note from Mr. Macmillan." And I opened the note, and the note said, "The bearer of this is a nefarious criminal, please eliminate him." I realised that probably the boy had given him some bother or needed a bit of a breather, so I said, "Hang on a wee minute," and I wrote a note back, you can send it back, a wee breather. And I had done a little drawing from the note. So Hugh then started sending me, through the school mail, not through pupils missing their education, little poems, and I would illustrate and send them back, and put them in a pigeonhole, and we started doing that. So we'd done lots of little things together. So Hugh came to me, and he had this idea of going on a tour around Scotland and writing a postcard from each place he went to his wife, and then putting all the postcards together to make a book. And he was going to call it Dear Jane. At the same time, Tom Powell was writing in residence at the Crichton, and he had been writing a book about Crichton and patients in the Crichton that was based on letters, and it was called Dear Iris. And we thought, he'll think we're taking a mickey if we come up with a book called Dear Jane. So we called it Postcards from the Hedge. And the book, we decided, it turned out to be about the rainiest summer we ever had. And so Hugh was writing poems, and a lot of them seem to feature rain, so I did a drawing for each one, and I think everyone's got rain in it, apart from the last one which has got snow in it. And I devised the book quite simply to have a drawing, a poem, a drawing, a poem, and then, always been one to make jobs for myself, I designed a map that showed the tour around Scotland with lots of in-jokes. So it starts in Galway here, goes around, and ends up back there. And I could do the maps, and then, of course, I hate metal staples. I don't know, Dumfries must be the dampest place on earth. Every pamphlet you get with staples in ends up looking rusty. So I hand stitch all the books with linen thread. But I had to make these little gussets to hold this. So making 300 of these books was, hand stitching them and gluing it in. They're hand stitched together and then they're fitted together and it's just glued. But it won the Callum MacDonald Memorial Award. It wasn't the first book I put in. I was shortlisted the year before with a book of my own, which was called If I Could Talk to the Artists. And it was poems written in Scots about all my favourite artists, and light-hearted poems. I took the pictures and I made them more acceptable to a Scottish audience, so that he's got a tartan coat on, and when Manny is having his luncheon in the grass, it's a tartan rocker on. So I've changed them all, and the little poems are suitably irreverent. This one to Vincent van Gogh. Here, Vincent, there's used well lugging canvases about the countryside, lobbing paint on them. I could wax lyrical about your talent, beat the drum, blow your trumpet, pin a medal on you, yet most folk ken for just one thing, and I wouldn't lower the conversation by mentioning that cartilaginous portion or lack of it, at least no earshot. So I hope that's, again, any questions, and please do come up and handle them. They're fun in the hand. They're meant to be in there. So, thank you for your attention.